Hello and welcome to New Earth Lifestyles. I am your host, Janie King. We are here in this beautiful studio in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, manchestertv.org. And I'd like to just give a shout out to Manchester TV for this beautiful studio and to John for being my technical director. I'm glad you're here with us today. Thursday, May 14th, 2015. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Sunny, summery, breezy, nice spring day. I have here with me today my guest. Thank you for coming here today, Beth Gross-Santos, and the name of your company is?
I am grateful to you.
I am grateful to you. What a great name.
I am grateful to be here today.
Great. Yes, and I'm grateful that you came and you made it here to the studio. Mm-hmm. And so I met you at the I believe Debbie Adair's Network Palooza last fall. Mm-hmm. And I was so taken by being grateful, because I talk about that on the show all the time, as how gratitude and being grateful is such an amazing healing technique, healing tool, healing way to live our lives day to day. And you have made a business out of this. So that is so curious. Mm-hmm. I'd love to hear more about how this started, how this got going. How did you start?
Yeah, well, one way I look at gratitude too is, for me, it's a inward introspection of gratitude and then an outward expression. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I was going through a very difficult time in my life. Okay. And it was very challenging. And one thing that transcended everything were the people that were there for me and didn't abandon me when I was going through my challenging time. Once I shared, because a lot of my upbringing was, just bear with things, don't necessarily share when you're going through challenges, but just kind of be strong and get through it. Mm-hmm. And, I did that for a lot of my life, but when things really were very tough, I needed to reach out to other people. Mm-hmm. And I was so grateful that the people didn't desert me and they were with me and stood by me. And I wanted to say thank you, but then when I looked around at different stores and places that had things, to me, thank you wasn't enough. I needed something more from the heart. And that's when I thought of gratitude, and I am grateful to you. Mm-hmm. And really, and in the midst of that, the gratitude business idea or the gratitude business came to me in the middle of the night on one of my worst possible days.
Really?
I can suffer from insomnia. I've been an insomniac on and off for a long period of time, and I've kind of learned to embrace it, because sometimes our best ideas can come from the middle of the night when we can't sleep. And that's what came to me, because I was thinking, I just simply want to say, I am grateful to you, to the people that have been there for me. Okay. And then the next day, I went online and I registered the name I Am Grateful to You, and I registered other names that had to do with gratitude. And that was kind of the beginning, kind of like the seed of, well, what am I going to do with that?
I see. So just coming up with that name and registering it was like the catalyst, and whatever came to you in that night, so it kind of came through divinely, I guess you could say, in your inability to sleep, but through all your experiences with the people that have helped you through these hard times.
Yeah. And
That's
so
amazing.
And that was kind of a way to kind of get out of my own kind of, I guess, little pity party, because we're going through challenging times. It can be tough to kind of get out of your own way. Yeah. And so when you can reach out to others and realize that there are other people that are there for you, it does help to really turn things around. Right. And so then I spent a period of time thinking, well, how am I going to write I Am Grateful to? How am I going to present it to the world? And I've always been a great journaler. I've definitely, when I've had hard times or just different times in my life, I get notebooks and I just write and I write and, just see what kind of comes through.
It's very therapeutic, isn't it? Pour your heart under the page.
It's amazing. It's like my friend. Between being able to write and books, reading great books, I find those are two resources that have been very helpful in my life. And so then I spent about a month thinking, well, how am I going to write I Am Grateful to You? And how am I going to present it to the world? And that's when I came up with, actually, it's a big way to show it, a spiral. And I really didn't know how powerful the spiral was, too, when I came up with the idea. And also, I didn't really know how even powerful gratitude was, until kind of almost after this all came to me. And then I started to research more about, gratitude being one of the highest vibrations that there is in the world, besides love. And I thought, wow,
it is a very high vibration.
Yeah, and a very powerful vibration, a very healing vibration, too.
Yes.
And then the spiral is the oldest symbol known to man.
Really?
Yes. It's found on just about every continent in the world. It's been used by, different religions, different spiritual practices, different people. So there's just so much to a spiral. And
it's kind of...
we can see it there.
Or maybe by your cup. You can leave it there.
And there's so many ways to look at it. Like, I can even look at my journey was I spiral down to, like, the bottom, the depth of my soul, and that's where I found gratitude. And then I'm able to spiral back up to a better, more positive place with gratitude.
Great.
And because of having that experience, I really wanted to share it. So after coming up with the spiral, I thought, well, how am I going to do this? And that's when I developed the card. That, there's a little card like this, and inside when you open the card it says, I'm grateful to you because, and that's where you add your own personal expression of gratitude. And that to me is powerful, because probably liking to write and feeling that when you have your heart and you have the pen in hand, it really does put you in another place when you can really think about why you're grateful to someone and have that time to pause.
Right.
We live in such a fast-paced, moving society. Actually, why don't you open up this one, because before I came here, I had time to pause and write
she wrote me a note.
So I thought that would be...
Jane, you are having me on your show.
I'm grateful to you for...
I'm sorry. I didn't read the writing. Of course. That's the printing. I am grateful to you because... you are having me on your show. I am so grateful for this opportunity to grow more gratitude. Thank you. In the world. Grow more gratitude in the world. Wishing you gratitude and peace always. Beth, oh sweet. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And just sometimes those little words. And
so this little card, and oh my gosh, and a gift in a little bag. Isn't that? I love that little bag. Another gratitude bag. And I will open it up. Nice cotton, like a muslin bag that you've got your... and a gratitude bracelet. Oh, my gosh. How beautiful. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Wow, and a peace symbol. Excellent. Oh, my gosh. How great is that? Because it goes this way. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
And
it's stretchy, so it should just go right on.
Oh, I should be able to put it right on? And I've heard about these by so many people. Thank you so much. And I love the peace symbol on it, and it looks like it has what kind of beads? Amethyst, is it?
Yeah, and it has the olive core, which is a whole nother story about...
The olive core, which is...
Right.
Yeah, that's where we're going to get to that story. Well, thank you so much, Beth.
You're welcome.
How sweet. The gratitude symbol. So, you are grateful for me. I'm grateful for you, too. I'm grateful that you are here.
Me too.
A nice day for you to be here.
Oh, it is. It's a beautiful drive. I drove in from Portsmouth, and
it
was just beautiful. I mean, the sun is shining, and here we are.
Here we are, being grateful for each other, being here.
Right.
And I love your earrings. So that spiral, you've kind of got it. You've got on your desk.
I kind of thought
you've got it everywhere, spiraling.
Right.
So that's the symbol of movement from the depths of despair, but always moving upward.
And then if you think of it infinitely, like on the card it says, gratitude spreads infinitely from one person to another, be part of the spiral of gratitude.
Okay.
So my whole way of thinking is the more we express gratitude to each other and the more we connect to each other, just the better the world will be and the more positive the world will be.
Right.
And also part of my thinking about gratitude too is when I came up with the name, I am grateful to you, as opposed to I'm grateful for you.
Right, okay.
To me, 2 promotes expression, 4 promotes possession. So I wanted it to be a business based on expression and connection, where sometimes we can't get there until we're first grateful for things in our life. So that's why I say it's an inward reflection and then an outward expression.
I see.
So it's part of a continual journey.
I see.
And kind of encompassing the spiral. And also, when I've done research on the spiral kind of also mirrors our life journey, where it's not just necessarily a straight line, but it can be more like a spiral where we return to an earlier version of ourselves, but then later on a more expanded version of our earlier selves. So it's nice to think of life that way and be open to the experiences that come our way, and even the painful experiences, because
being grateful even for the painful ones, because they seem to have been like a nugget of growth spurt of like bringing us back, but then catapulting us perhaps or up the spiral. From being down, you have to get down there before you can come up.
Right. And sometimes when we're in that downward part of the spiral, we don't realize that. And to kind of keep that faith and keep that going and keep that encouragement. And so that's why, to know that we're not alone in our journey, and to be able to reach out and feel comfortable reaching out to others and expressing gratitude to each other, I think is crucial.
Absolutely. That's the whole, what it's all about, for as far as I'm concerned, with the lifting myself up. It's not only feeling that for myself, but the gratitude goes out to the others, so that they can they can feel it as well, and feel that expression of love. Like you said, gratitude is an expression of love, of the vibration of gratitude. And we've talked about vibrations on the show a lot, with the different feelings and emotions, and gratitude is love. Being grateful for someone or something, grateful to. Now, I really like the way you really were very conscious about your words, how you put the word to there, because I've been saying for, but it's to. So you need to correct
and most
me
people do say for. And I've noticed that, and I think just because that's what we're used to. And so now it's a kind of learning to open.
To you is a much more personal.
Right.
But for you, yes, for you just kind of holds it to yourself almost. When you say it, you can almost feel it saying, I'm grateful for you, rather than to you, like a movement.
Yeah, because to is a movement, right, and being open. And, some of the stories, I get lots of stories from people, because people share after they've expressed gratitude. I get lots of emails from people, messages on Facebook. And one story that really touched me is a woman said she had bought a bracelet for her sister-in-law. And she said, I had never been able...
One of these.
Well, another bracelet, but a similar bracelet. And she said she had never before been able to express gratitude to her sister-in-law. But because she had the bracelet in the card, and the card began, I am grateful to you, because it was the first time she could open up her heart and express gratitude to her sister-in-law. And she said it was such a moment for her sister-in-law and herself that she could never replicate, and it made their relationship so much closer and so much more meaningful and so much more depth. And that's what I think a lot of us are looking for and want to have, but we don't always have the right vehicle to get there. So I always think of myself as providing the vehicle. And that's why I call myself the gratitude facilitator, because I'll facilitate, but I want everybody to be the participators, because it's not a solo journey. It's a journey for all of us to be in this journey together. Right. So that's also kind of a choice that I made, that I thought was meaningful so everyone could kind of understand it and feel like they're part of it.
Yeah, that's so great. What a great story.
Thank you.
And you have some other things here to show us. So the spiral it's so inspiring, and it's really it's a Fibonacci code, isn't it?
It
is,
Fibonacci
sequence, rather, which is the nautilus, and if you look at seashells, it's everywhere. If you look at flowers, it's everywhere. It's in
nature.
It's everywhere in nature, and it's also in the measurement of our body. Somehow the Fibonacci sequence and the Da Vinci man with with his arms out, and the whole proportion of how our bodies are put together has to do with the Fibonacci sequence and the spiral. So that's
right. And there's a new form of yoga, which I went to in classes, where they use the spirals in your movement in the yoga.
Really?
Yes, I think it's called gyrotonics. I'm not sure completely, but that's very interesting. So it's that noticing of spirals. And then I always think, if you start associating a spiral with gratitude, every time you see a spiral, you'll think gratitude, you'll feel gratitude. So if you're having a bad day and you see a spiral, it can just turn your thoughts around and turn your energy around.
And so you're trained to do that all the time, because that's who you are and that's what you do. you live with spirals everywhere.
Right. I used to collect fish because I'm a Pisces. Now I collect spirals.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. And
I didn't know if you wanted to share more about what that initiating trigger was that dove you into this business. I know it's a personal story, but I like to express on the show, give people an opportunity to know that wherever you came from, you can get out of, or you can move to higher places, which you have done.
Yes.
So I don't know if there's any part of that that's not too personal.
No, that's okay, and it's on my website. My website is iamgratefulto.com.
iamgratefulto.com, of course.
So simple to find.
On that.
Well, I was going through divorce, which is tough and painful. Yeah. I had a business that was, not doing well after being in business for over 20 years. The recession hit. I felt like my house was crumbling. I mean, just my whole world was crumbling, especially I think between divorce and my business. And then I had 2 children that really needed my attention, and it was hard to just get out from everything.
Sure.
And that was around, the beginning of the recession, 2008, 2009, things just really started to fall apart. You build your life, you feel like you're going like this, and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under you, and it's how to deal with it, without burying your head in the sand and wanting to stay. That, I had to find a way out, a way of most willing myself out, finding a higher purpose, finding something that would be helpful. And then when I found it, and I felt so great when I started to express gratitude to the people that were there for me with the card and a simple gift, I thought, well, others would feel better too. So it was from that realization of, the pain, and I'm sure a lot of people do go through the divorce, and sometimes businesses. I mean, really, I think what we have gone through, the Great Recession, has really affected people, I think, tremendously.
Tremendously. I think it has too, and I think that a lot of the pulling ourselves out with the bootstraps out of the recession is doing things similar to what you've done. Is create your own business, even though you said you had a business, but it was retail, and retail is one of the first businesses that go in a recession. In a recession, because people haven't got any money to spend on things that you're selling.
And it has that whole multiplier effect. So if they don't have money to spend, and they're not spending money with me, then I don't have any money. So it's this whole domino effect. That takes place.
And so building up from the bootstraps and connecting in with personally who you are is a really amazing, a wonderful thing that I think a lot of people that have gone through the recession and gone down from it can then use this model to come back up and find your passion in life, find what you love to do, or that dream, that vision that came to you in the middle of the night. That's an amazing time. A lot of things come through to people in the middle of the night, or in the shower, or when you're driving, when you're kind of in this mode of connecting to other realms. But starting your own business and having the willpower to do that's really beautiful. And I think that's the way that the economy needs to get picked up by entrepreneurs, people that have lost everything, lost their jobs. So go inside and find out what makes you tick, who are you, what is your passion in life, and that will that can change your life for the better, actually. So you can look at everything you lost as a positive thing down the road, like the silver lining in the cloud that has a silver lining, pretty much in everything, because I believe personally that everything does have a silver lining. And
we still have ourselves. We still have our internal strength, and to try to harness it in whatever way we can, and believe in it, and believe in ourselves. Because I think sometimes when our world is collapsing, it's hard to believe in ourselves and say, why did I let this happen? Why me? So we go there, of course, but to say, okay, it's happened, but I have to find a way to reinvent myself. And I think a lot of us are trying to reinvent ourselves in different ways.
Yes, we are. In fact, I think it's a continual cycle of, going up and down, or can be for some people, of just continually looking more and more at what makes me happy, what am I passionate about, what makes me tick, and redirecting life in that way. And I would imagine that your business that you've created is sort of going that way. You kind of swimming with the tides, so to speak.
Oh, and figuring it out as I go along. Yeah. I started off one place, and now I'm someplace else. And, I mean, it's interesting, too, with the spiral and the bracelets that I gave you. I can share the story about
beautiful.
My past life. And so I don't know if you can see up close, too. Well, these are bracelets that are made from olive pits. So what I do is I transform what I say the pit of the olive into the core of gratitude, and I'll explain why. Is when I was in my early 20s.
Oops, put it anyway.
Okay. Okay. And I brought some other ones too, which I can talk about after. But
okay, so the pit of the olive.
Yeah. So when I was in my early 20s, I was on the island of Crete, and I was picking olives. I don't know if you ever picked
Really?
olives.
In the Mediterranean?
In the Mediterranean, Crete, off of the coast of Greece.
Yes.
So when you pick olives, you shake the tree, and the olives go down on these mats, and then you put them in these bags.
Okay.
So I did this. I have to say, for a week. I could have done it, but it's really hard work. But I noticed all these olives that would roll off the mat and be on the ground. So one day when I was picking olives, I pulled out my Swiss Army knife, and I started carving away at the olives. And I kept carving and carving, and I ended up making it into like an olive, like a bead. So I had some fishing line, and I strung the olive pits on this fishing line, and I made a little beads out of brass, and I tied it and put it on my arm, and I wore it for about 3 years straight, never taking it off. And
Really?
I would look at it every now and then and say, wow, this is pretty cool. It's changing. It's becoming more defined with my skin. And I said, God, I need to make these bracelets someday or whatever, but I really never got around to it. And this is back over 30 years ago that I did this.
Oh, really? 30 years ago?
Yeah. I was in my early 20s.
So you made a bracelet out of olive pits after picking
when I was picking the olives.
Picking olives in Crete.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, I wore it. After that, I ended up going to Israel, living on a kibbutz in Israel for a little while. I ended up traveling for about 13 months through Europe and the Middle East.
Wow.
And then came back to the States. I was about 26 years old, and that's when I wrote a business plan, opened my store, boutique. That's a whole other story. Mm-hmm. But so then after I started the gratitude business, which I started a little over 3 years ago, I started with, like mugs and coffee tumblers and,
flying
other
saucers.
Flying saucers. It's kind of a new thing. I'll go over this after Frisbee. I went to Italy almost 3 years ago. I was going to Italy, and I started thinking about the olive pit bracelet I had made.
Yeah.
And it was just coming, because I knew there was going to be tons of olive trees in Italy.
Right.
So before I went, I thought, I'll get some olives and try to carve and make a bracelet. But I didn't get a chance. But I'm in Italy, and I meet this guy, Maximiliano, who's in the olive business.
Maximiliano.
So what a perfect time. And I told him, since he's in the olive business, that I was looking for olive pits. And he said to me, "You mean the core of the olive?" And when he said that, my gratitude core just opened up. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe
gets it.
That he got it. He's really did.
An olive dealer who gets that the pit is the core of the olive.
Yeah.
And it gets thrown away all the time.
Right, just discarded. And most people, I buy olives without pits because they want to avoid the pits.
That's right.
So that was such a awakening when he said that to me. He said,
Maximiliano, thank you.
Yeah, so we have to, right.
Deep gratitude to him.
I know. I need to go back and really go bring him some bracelets. But then also, so after meeting Maximiliano and my just saying, oh my God, there's something there when he had said that, the next day, sorry, I should have shut off my phone. Oh, I meant to do that.
We'll have a gong on this.
Yeah, we'll have a gong.
Yeah, I forgot to turn off the phone.
So the next day, we go in this cathedral. And I've been in many cathedrals in Italy and all over Europe, but this is the very first time this happened to me. I walk into the cathedral, and in the cathedral there's a box. And in the box, there are rosary beads. And the rosary beads were made out of olive core.
Olive core, not olive pits.
Well, I say olive core now because it's a nice way to transform the message in thinking about olives.
They're in our core. They're the core of gratitude.
Right. So that.
And so you went into this cathedral and opened a box, and the rosaries were made out of olive core.
Right.
Olive
so,
pits.
Of course, I had to leave a donation and get it, and I've been wearing this ever since.
That's the one?
That's the one.
Wow.
That's why I have it on. I've worn it ever since I found it in the church.
How beautiful.
Yeah. And they really do get defined by your skin. I mean, that's the beauty of the olive core, and especially making the bracelets out of the olive core. It becomes part of your journey. It becomes part of your, I never take my bracelets off. I probably should take them off when I'm in an interview because sometimes people say they can be annoying because they kind of make a little bit of jingle noise. But I shower in these bracelets.
Really?
I sleep in these bracelets.
I can shower in this?
You can shower in them, swim, hot tub, exercise. So they're meant to really wear all the time, so you have gratitude with you all the time, no matter whatever you do.
I was kind of going to do a plain thing with background that we could sort of leave this here, but I guess there's really no way to... I don't know if you can see that any better or not.
I don't know. Oops, it's the opposite
If you
way
want to
too.
zoom in on that. Here we go. So you can kind of get a little closer look of the olive core gratitude bracelet.
Right, right.
Cool.
And it's very interesting because, I've been back to Italy since. I've researched on the internet. Really, nobody has really made bracelets out of really the olive core. I mean, rosary beads, yes, but nobody. And what I found out after doing my research, see, a lot of times I'll get this idea and then I do the research after to see what it's all about. And I found out that, we've been eating olives for about 8,000 years.
8,000 years?
It's one of the first foods that, that human beings started to eat.
Really?
And it's one of the best.
Because it's so plentiful in the Mediterranean.
And they even say it was one of the original trees in the Garden of Eden. When Noah sent the dove out to see if there's land, he brought back the olive branch.
Oh, that's right.
So there's so much in the history of olives and subsistence for human beings, and then the olive oil. I mean, there's just so much that connects us to something, a beautiful seed, a beautiful core like this. And so that's why it's very powerful for me. And the other powerful part I want to get to, it's also powerful because it connects to my spiral and my whole philosophy of returning to an earlier version of yourself and being open to the signs you get from it. So if I had never picked olives on the island of Crete in my 20s, I never would have the olive gratitude bracelets as the core of my business and the core of gratitude.
In 2015. Wow.
Yeah. So it's really
So it's a returning.
But in a more expanded way.
Yes.
With the spiral.
And that's what the spiral is.
Yeah.
Wow. How
yeah.
cool
So I'm
is
living
that?
it.
You are. You're living So there was almost like a, what do they call it? A divine intervention or something happened when you were introduced to the olive back in your 20s that has kind of come back around. Like you said, it's come back around, and now it's even bigger in your life and has such deeper meaning.
Yes.
Not only for you, but the people that you connect in with these bracelets and with what the olive core stands for, and how 8,000 years, and probably longer. It's just that they probably have, they don't like to think that we've been here for 4,000, 400,000 or 4 million years, but many people think we have, and the earth, I'm sure, had plenty of olives back then. So the olive is an ancient fruit.
Oh my God, yes. It's one of the most ancient fruits in the world.
Right. And when you think about the pit, that's actually the seed that grows another tree, that grows how many thousands or millions of olives.
Right,
It keeps on keeping us nourished.
Right.
Because an olive is so nourishing.
So nourishing and so good for you.
It's so good for you. And there's so many different, so what do they put them in something to make them a different flavor? Or?
Well, there's different ways of curing them. Sometimes the best way, really, the most natural way, is to pick it when it's just ripe on the tree and put it in water with a little bit of salt for about 6 weeks. Because if you just taste an olive right from the tree, it's very bitter. They're terrible. They don't taste good at all.
Okay.
And then there's other chemical methods that are used too. So there's a few different ways of curing the olives. And that's why sometimes people say they don't like olives. Well, there's so many different kinds to try in the world. So maybe there's one kind that someone would like.
I know that. I think there are connoisseurs of olives, aren't there? Because there are so many varieties of them and ways of curing them.
Yeah. So it's neat. So give it another chance. Give it another chance.
Give the olive another chance.
Right. Well, especially if you go to the olive bars now. They're popping up.
Olive bars?
Yeah, popping up over the country. Like where I live in Portsmouth, we have a store called McKinnon's.
Okay.
And they have an olive bar there, so you can pick all these different
that's right.
types
If you go to
of
the co-op salad bar, they have an olive bar at the salad bar at the co-op in Concord, the Concord co-op. I never thought about that, but that is there.
Yeah, so it's a good opportunity to try all kinds of olives.
Different olives.
And they say, that some olive trees live like 5,000 years.
Wow.
But they've scientifically proven some to be a little over 2,500 years old.
Wow.
And they still bear fruit.
Jeez.
So there's so much. So that's why
you're putting that in your body. You're nourishing yourself with that ancient wisdom of that tree, standing there in the same place for 2,500 years. Think about everything that tree has experienced, wherever it is in that place.
Right. And do you ever see how they grow? That they grow kind of almost like a spiral, I guess, because they get kind of gnarly and they twist and they turn, and they're beautiful, beautiful trees. And that's why a lot of people say, well, okay, you're in New Hampshire, how do you get all your pits? Yeah, so.
Right. So, what's the answer to that question, Beth? You're not in the Mediterranean anymore.
I'm not. Right.
Where do you get all your pits?
So at first, I was challenged to find enough pits. I mean, I love olives, but I couldn't really eat enough olives to keep up with making the bracelet.
Making bracelets, yeah. How many on a bracelet?
There's usually about 6 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah, olive
Nice.
cores on a bracelet. So, I was first pleading with restaurants and people, give me your pits, just save them, do anything with them. But now I have actually quite a few pit pals. So, for every 100 pits people send me in the post, I send them a bracelet in gratitude. So it's another beautiful way to grow the spiral of connection.
How cool is that? Pit
It's really
pals.
cute.
If you
Cool.
save your pits up and add up, get 100, you can
At least
send them
100.
to Beth and get your own
Olive.
olive pit gratitude bracelet.
And I have to say, I have piles, unbelievable. Well, I have an olive company, too, in California that's like a pit partner, too. So a lot of people that work there, they send me, sometimes I've gotten, at one time, 25,000 pits in the mail.
So you can't send them that many bracelets.
It's hard. It gets a little challenging, but, I try to do the best I can with getting the bracelets out and getting production out and getting people here in New Hampshire.
They're probably really excited. That you're doing something with their pits.
Right. Oh, they are. Oh, and it's so great because otherwise they're really wasted. I mean, some big olive companies will use the pits for biofuel, but that's more like Lindsay Olive. It's not every olive company can do that. So at least they are getting used in some ways with certain companies. Because I've been, now of course trying to learn as much as I can about olives and gratitude.
You must know a lot about olives.
Yeah.
So they use the pit for fuel.
Some places.
So
well, they'll get piled like Lindsay Olive. If you think of Lindsay Olive, their olives are mostly all pitted. So when they take the machine probably and just take out the pit, then they have a big pile and they can use it for biofuel in California.
Oh, I see.
But
So somehow they convert olive pits to fuel?
They can, yeah.
So there's oil in the pit.
Yeah, there is. There is a little bit of oil, left in the pit. And that's why a lot of times taking care of the bracelet, it's good to rub olive oil on every now and then to
Really?
to keep it nice. And it says it on the back of the card. It says, you can actually read, if you wanted to read what it says on the back of the card.
The care of my bracelet. The Olive Gratitude Bracelet Collection. Awaken and connect to your core, where your gratitude center resides, our core. Wear the olive core bracelet and tap into the power of appreciation. The olive tree is surely the richest gift of life. Dating back over 8,000 years, it is a pleasure to share this piece of history made with gratitude in the good old US of A, with old glory. Fashioned of genuine olive pits and gemstones made to wear every day so the core transforms and shines as part of you. To care for your bracelet, rub olive oil on it from time to time to keep the luster and shine. www.iamgratefultoyou.com. Nice. Okay, so I will keep it lubricated with olive oil. Cool.
Yeah.
And olive oil is good to eat and good to put on your skin.
I use it on my skin now for moisturizer all the time.
Right. So beautiful.
And you can see, look at the difference. See how yours is still...
yeah, mine's light, yours are darker.
Right, and they're more defined. So you'll notice over time how it'll change.
Very good.
Yeah. And then also,
neat.
as part of this, I also work with nonprofits, too.
Oh, really?
Where there's one I thought I'd bring that I developed to help veterans. So there's a nonprofit in California that when you order off their website, half the money goes and helps veterans. So I try to do things
Half the
like
money?
half of it. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's really great, and I love doing that and supporting veterans. And I've done another one for brain cancer awareness. So I love
good old glory on the bracelet. Nice. And that's a more masculine bracelet.
Yeah, and I have a lot of men that are wearing them too.
What are these black?
And that's lava.
What is lava? I have some lava stones. Oh, nice. That does. It feels so masculine and heavy. So a man could really
enjoy wearing it.
Enjoy wearing it. Yeah, as a gratitude bracelet and supporting
veterans.
The veterans.
Yeah.
When you purchase it. Nice.
So that's really, really nice. And I've done stuff where I've worked with brain cancer awareness. It says hematite, and for brain cancer, it's gray.
Okay.
And hematite is a healing stone.
Yes, it is.
So I thought that would be a beautiful one to do for brain cancer.
For brain cancer, and you've got the little curlicue cancer awareness thing on there.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. So that to me is important.
You're getting very, very creative. And so, yeah, supporting
different
nonprofits, different causes.
And I'm always looking for more. So if anybody has any causes that they want to connect with me, I'm open. And also designing something special for their cause, too. So that I love to do as well.
Very good. That's good to know. If anyone out there has a cause that you'd like to create a bracelet for, to promote, to be a fundraiser, right?
Right, fundraiser.
You would
promote gratitude. There's all different ways that can be done. Yeah.
Nice.
And then I do the workshops, too. Do you know about the workshops?
So tell me about the workshops.
Okay.
I know I was invited to one I was unable to attend, so tell me what I was missing.
Okay. Well, so what I've done, and this is something that I never anticipated doing, is the workshops. And that's part of the reason why, well, we're both in that group, the Toastmasters group together.
That's right. We're in Toastmasters. After meeting you at the Network Palooza, we happened to coincide. Well, after I had Debbie on the show, she invited me to Toastmasters, where you were a member already. Yeah, so we're kind of co-members of the Concord Toastmasters group.
Which is really great, because one of my biggest fears is public speaking.
You're doing pretty good today.
Thank you. I don't see the public, so it's okay.
Human
but
contact.
Because I wanted to really be able to get my message out there. And so when I did meet Deb, she said, you have to go to Toastmasters and learn how to speak better and organize it better. And I love that. And so that's helped me now with putting on the workshops. So when I have the workshops, it'll be, like I like to have, 10, maybe 20 people. It depends on the group. I've been doing them with different groups. And, everybody is empowered to make their own olive gratitude bracelet. So I come with all the olive cores. I come with all different spirals that they can put on their bracelet, all the different gemstones, all the different
all these
charms
and these lovely things.
Because I've developed all different charms depending also on who I'm helping. Like, for example, there's a whole equestrian group that loves them with the horses.
Yes.
So probably if you go on my website, there's probably about 50, 60 bracelets and all different charms that are on the bracelet. Actually, I've done some for recovery, too, for AA. This is the recovery symbol, too. So I've done that. So really, a lot of things have developed because of people, and I'm grateful for the input I get to different people. And even when I go to workshops, I get so many ideas. And the beauty of the workshop is, first I tell part of my gratitude story. I usually get everybody to write a gratitude message. I get everybody in that spirit of gratitude, because people, when they arrive, aren't always there.
So how do you get them into the spirit of gratitude?
Well, I get people starting to think about it. I have paper where everyone writes a little message of gratitude. I have a little gratitude jar that you'll put the message in. When I start sharing my story and people start making the bracelet, and I'm talking around the room with everybody, people start changing. It's subtle, but it's beautiful. It's not a forced thing, but it's a teamwork, and everyone's sharing the beads, and everyone's picking different things out. Everybody's exchanging ideas with each other, and they're also thinking about who they're grateful to, or even if they want to express gratitude to themselves, that can be part of it. And everybody will get their own card, their own bag, so they'll have all the tools to be successful at making their own olive gratitude bracelet. And I've done it with companies. A couple months ago, I went down to Plymouth, Mass, and there were team leaders from all over the United States that came. And
team leaders of what?
It was called Party Light. It was a candle company.
Oh, Party Light, yes, I've heard of them.
And they came, and it was great because a lot of these people didn't know each other that well. And it was supposed to be a 2-hour workshop. It ended up being 4 hours, just because everybody really got into it and really got into sharing.
So the workshop is about connecting with gratitude, but also making your own bracelet.
Right. So it's twofold. So you get to leave with something that you've been empowered to make. And the beauty of it is, I tell people, I give certain guidelines, but the beauty is that you embrace your own creative, positive power, and it's a part of each person when they make it.
Right. So like my drum making workshops, or just like them, because I call them medicine drums, because you're putting your medicine into the drum, along with the medicine of the animal and the medicine of the tree. And so it's very similar, because the creative process is such a beautiful self-expansion of creative process of yourself, and you see parts of yourself sometimes that you didn't know you had.
Right.
That creative urge, and doing beads, and then you must have all these beads and little separators and fillers and
oh yeah, I have a hole, and I bring the frisbees so they in case they're making it and it falls, they can put it on the frisbee. So I have a whole setup that I do that I think is
like a beading group for gratitude. Just with a gratitude focus.
And then they each pick out their olive course to go on it, and that's really fun to pick the different ones that they can
pick the ones that match each other, so to speak,
if they want to, or they could pick ones that are totally different, because really no two cores are ever alike. Like no two people are ever alike. Like even when I make the bracelets and I send them out into the world to people, I always say, there's never any two bracelets alike, and they're all completely handmade here in New Hampshire. So you're really getting a gift of the heart when you're getting the gratitude gift.
You are.
Yeah. So it's beautiful.
It's the heart.
Yeah, it's no
your
more
heart and the heart of the olive.
Yeah, the heart of the olive. And then when you make it yourself, your heart's involved. So it's all of everybody opening their heart and being part of it.
How cool is that? Wow, that's really fabulous.
And then next week I have a really beautiful opportunity where I'm going to a school and I'm going to facilitate a workshop with a 6th grade class that's graduating. And I love that, because also another part of gratitude is to really help children awaken their gratitude core too.
Nice.
In an experiential type way.
Yes.
So that's going to be, I'm doing that next week, and that'll be my first children's group doing it.
I've done it with
wonderful. Adults and companies and women and I haven't. Not as many men have partaken in it, but I'm working on that.
Not an actual male activity, but you never know.
You never know, right? If I can.
So children, So you're getting children in the 6th grade, giving them a chance to experience gratitude, and then create their own gratitude bracelet so they can wear it. And the beauty is you can wear, like you said, you can wear it all the time, 24/7, no matter what.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. I am going to cherish this.
And I think about the children, especially the 6th graders, they're going to be going on to middle school. And how beautiful, because middle school can be a very tough time in life.
Very tough.
So they'll have their gratitude symbol with them as they're entering into a new phase of life. So that's kind of one of my passions, is to work more with children and be involved in that. So that's why I'm still feeling it out and seeing where it's going to go. I actually did a party with it was called a menopause party. So a woman was turning 50, and she invited all her friends.
Okay.
And there was I think it was over 20 people that came. And that was beautiful, too, because she had all these different activities, and I was one of her activities for the evening. And all the women got to laugh with their gift of gratitude from their friend that had turned 50.
Nice.
So to me, there's really no boundaries to gratitude.
Absolutely not. Gratitude is everywhere for everyone at all the time.
It's just a matter of being open.
It is. And when I wake up in the morning, that's the first thing I think of. It's gratitude for the day. When I go to bed at night, that's what I do too. The last thing I think about is how the gratefulness that I had for everything that happened during the day. So it's kind of, now I have my bracelet to remind me, to make sure that I get deeper into that. And it's so healing. Gratitude is so healing. So doing it in the schools, that's a great place to hopefully get yourself into more and more, and you're kind of inspiring me to look at I have little rattles that that children could make in a 2-hour workshop, and
especially to get back to that, because you think of kids these days, they don't really make it. They're mostly computers and their phones, and they're so electronically based that it's nice to bring them back to something that's will be more earthy, more grounded for them,
with a deep meaning and a deep purpose for them to remember. And it feels like this can kind of evolve. Your gratitude is always going in different directions based on whatever is going on in your life. So it's always shifting and changing and evolving and growing. So that's great.
Yeah, it really is. And I find with children, like even with my own, I have 2 sons, and I'll never forget, one of my son's best friends had said, when he got into all the colleges he applied to, he said to me, he came to me one day and he said, "Beth, I got into all the colleges I applied to, and I owe it all to gratitude." And it was just so neat seeing a young adult get that and feel that and come to me with that. That really touched me. So. When kids get it, because sometimes we do live in an entitled society.
We do in Western world, and yes, the middle class anyway and up is pretty. We've got pretty much everything we want and need most of the time. I mean, there's things that we always want more, it seems, but when you look at third world countries or the eastern parts of the world, I was just listening to an interview on NPR. I don't know where the woman came from, but her family came from a very basic, live off the earth family where she didn't even think about her feelings, and you didn't talk about your feelings at all because they were just based on survival, living, home, and food. And survival.
And we are so lucky. Like, I watched, I don't know, about a month ago, a documentary about the Dalai Lama.
Oh, yeah.
And what really hit me was we have close to 7 billion people on this planet.
7 billion. Billion.
But really only 1 billion live above poverty.
Really?
Yes. One. We're part of that one. So much of the world doesn't really have a lot. So if we can really open our hearts and be more open, more compassionate, more in the spirit of giving, and gratitude is the beginning of giving.
Sure.
And caring. I'll never forget my children. I take my children to live in Brazil when they were younger because they're half Brazilian. Their dad's Brazilian.
I see.
And I'll never forget, because in Brazil, you see poverty all the time. I mean, it's right next door no matter where you live. And my 2 children were taking violin lessons. And, I was really trying to get them to get their finger right on the chord on the string. And one of them, I said, well, if you get your finger right on the string, I'll give you 1 reais, which is like $1. So my son finally did it, and he got his 1 reais, and we're walking to school, because every day I'd walk my children to school in Brazil and walk them home. And I turn around, and my youngest isn't there, and I want to keep track of him. It's not the safest place.
Yeah.
Well, he had bent down, and the 1 reais he had earned from the violin, he was given to a beggar on the street. And I will never forget that moment of just that pure giving. He earned it, and then he gave it away away to this man on the street. And it was, and I saw the man smile as big as can be, and that's the kind of spirit of the world. We need to have that sharing, that caring, that empathy for one another.
Absolutely.
And how can we do that?
How can we do that? And your son was such a model for all of us and for you
to see it.
To know that this other man needed it more than he did.
Yeah, that was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And he was young at the time. I mean, he was like 6 years old.
Right,
so I think some of us have it, but some of us, we need reminders too.
We do.
I think a lot of times.
I think you're right. We do need reminders. And maybe that's what the global communication thing is all about, because we do see it every day on television, how much we have compared to the rest of the world. And I don't really want to get into that too much, but there's one. I feel that not only third world countries, but the indigenous peoples of the world, if we could not exploit them and plunder them and let them be their indigenous life, we may consider that poverty, but that's their choice. We should allow them to have that choice.
And for them, it might not be poverty.
It's not poverty
if
at
they
all.
have shelter and they have food.
Right, but we look at it as they don't have anything. They're living in huts, they're with loincloths and all this stuff, which many people still do in some of the very, very recessed areas. I'm feeling that we've kind of come along as the Western world and put our values on them, that they need to do this. They need to come up to our Western world standards. And why? Why do we need to put our standards out there on these people that are living very well in the jungle with what they have and enjoying their life the way it is?
Right. I know. If we can just learn, each of us has our own personal responsibility.
Sure.
Not responsibility for others, but ourselves. And really keep that with us as our mantra all the time.
Right. And so it's about taking care of yourself. That's what this gratitude is about. When you take care of yourself and be grateful for those outside, but also grateful for yourself, then you have more for others outside. You have more for everyone in your life, and even for the beggar on the street or the person that you might want to give something to that's more needy than you are. When you're taking care of yourself and being grateful to your life, you have that. You're there. Your whole presence is different than when you're always. If you're giving yourself away all the time, you don't really have all of yourself.
Right. That's why you have to find the balance.
In
it all, and then feel like there's enough for everyone. That there's really an adequate amount. It's just how things are just distributed that make a difference.
Right.
There's a book I read a while ago called "The Soul of Money" by Lynn Twist. You ever heard that book?
I've never heard of that book. The Soul of Money.
And she worked for the World Hunger Project. So she would work, her mission is to eradicate hunger in the world. So she would work with the richest people in the world and the poorest people in the world and everywhere in between. And her whole premise is there really is a sufficient amount for everybody. It's just the way that we've gotten into this kind of hoarding money, hoarding mentality and competitive mentality. So if we can get more into collaborating,
right,
and not feeling like, oh my God, if I give this, I'm not going to have that, but to be more in that sharing, and we're all in it together. We're all part of this journey. And if we can open up in that way,
we're all part of this journey. And if you have more than another, why not share? No matter how much that is.
Yeah.
Great. Lynn Twist?
Lynn Twist.
Lynn Twist. I'm going to look up that book.
And then another movie I saw recently is called I Am.
Oh, I have that movie. Yeah, that's a great one.
Isn't that powerful too?
Very powerful, and that's what a lot of that message is the fact that we're hoarding so much stuff in the Western world, and so many people don't have anything.
And we've caused this imbalance
Very
in the world.
Imbalanced, yeah.
And so now I'm hoping, us and our generation of young people, that together we can have this mindful consciousness being created and coming about.
Me too.
And if we can all be part of that.
Yes.
Every one of us has that in us, that we can be part of it. And we have the power within ourselves.
We do. Everyone has the power within ourselves, and and the gratitude helps it to come out. The more I'm grateful, the more I drive down the street, I'm grateful for the sky, or even grateful for the rain, grateful for the weather, grateful for whatever, my car.
Yeah, even if you're waking up and you're not feeling great, like things are on your mind, you're worried about bills you need to pay, things that are upsetting you, health issues, at least you can wake up in your bed and say, I'm grateful I have a pillow. I'm grateful I have my bed. I'm grateful I have a roof over my head. I mean, sometimes it just takes those little tidbits.
In fact, that is so powerful that it can shift all those thoughts that you're having, and they'll recess to the background, or you'll just see the unimportance of them as compared to your gratefulness for what you do have, and for your that you have a pillow, you have a roof over your head, you have a home to live in, you have a bed. And that can shift and make those things that you've been worrying about so much less powerful in your mind. It can kind of shift that for you. And
it can be very healing. There's also another book by Robert Emmons. He's from UC Berkeley and Davis, and he wrote a book, Thanks, the Science of Gratitude. And he talks about gratitude being a muscle that we need to exercise and use that gratitude muscle. So it's a neat way to think about it.
Yeah.
And he said we all have that muscle. And some of us are at different places in it. But wherever we're at, if we really consciously create gratitude, we'll be 25% happier from where our original set point is.
I see.
So even for the grumpy people of the world, there's still hope. So that's nice.
There's still hope for all
of us. The grumpy naysayers of the world.
Right.
So it's nice to know that we all can do it. We all can get there.
We can all get there. That's so great. I'm so glad that you came on the show today, Beth. Beth Gross-Santos. I am grateful to you.com. This is great, and what amazing products, amazing workshops. You're just helping everyone lift up to that higher vibration of love by connecting into our own gratitude. And I am grateful to the other. That is just so beautiful. I am grateful to you.com. So thank you for sharing all of your goodies today, all of these. Thank you for my bracelet and all of these nonprofit type of ideas for if you'd like to sponsor some type of a nonprofit with one of Beth's gratitude bracelets. There's supporting veterans, supporting cancer, and this one's AA, with the AA symbol on. So these have the little symbols on them. How beautiful. Thank you for sharing all of your gifts. And
I wanted to share my favorite quote.
Your favorite quote?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll read it. Well, all of you read it.
I have this card. You gave it to me. Okay, here's Beth's favorite quote. Feeling gratitude and not expressing it is like wrapping a present and not giving it. I am grateful to you. How true. How true that is. Not expressing gratitude is like wrapping a present and not giving it. How many of us do that? Not many. So we need to have more gratitude. Thank you so much, Beth, for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
It's been great. A lot of fun. So look up Beth if you want to have any workshops or
connection or gratitude gifts to give to people, friends, family, companies.
Learn more about the olive cores.
Right. So just contact me, Beth, at IamGratefulToYou.com. And the website is I Am Grateful to You. So I'm grateful to meet everybody that's watching today.
Great. Thank you very much for coming on.
Oh, thanks for
and
having
traveling
me.
all the way from Portsmouth here to Manchester.
My
so
pleasure.
until next time, thank you for being with us today. And remember, your heart knows the way.